Hey guys, project-zodiac here. I'm back with another video, and this is my review for How to Train Your Dragon 2. So this first few minutes is going to be spoiler free. I'll be very clear when I'm going to go into my in-depth spoiler filled section, but for right now it is spoiler free. This is anticipation for the live action remake coming out pretty soon, and I'm so excited for that movie, as the How to Train Your Dragon series is one of my all-time favorite movie series. It is a series that I relate to a lot, so if you want to know a little bit more about that, please watch my review on the first movie. There's a playlist with these movies in chronological order. With all that said, guys, let's go straight into this review. So again, this section is spoiler free. This one is going to be a little bit harder to not talk too much about the spoilers, because those kind of go more into why I think it's still amazing, but not as good as the first one. But I'll do what I can to not go into too much spoilers until I go into my in-depth section. So this movie is set 5 years after the first one, and I love that these movies grow with the audience. So when I watched it for the first time, it was really about the same age as Hiccup in early 20s. So I thought that was really cool, that the movies grow with the audience. And, just right away, like, not only is it set 5 years later, but the characters are all so much better. They're all in my age group now too. So it like, a lot of the things that they talk about, a lot of the things that they say is just like things that me and my friends talk about and go through. About like the future, about marriage, all of these things, and that's all things that they talk about in this movie, because that's the age. They're in their 20s now, so they're looking into all of those things. So I really love that, because it's the same age group. So it really shows that they know the audience, and not just the audience, but like the people in that age group. So I think that that's really good, because it makes it even more relatable to me, because I'm still in my 20s. So but also, just the animation this time, it is so beautiful. Like, the animation in the first movie was amazing, but the animation in this movie is even better. Like, the subtle stubbles and facial hairs that you can see, like, you can see the individual strands, even, like, even if it's not a full beard, just like little hairs here and there. The grass, the sky, the water, the details on the dragons, on the humans, the skin tones, everything looks so much more impressive and just so much better. So it's just done so well, and there's even a very fun song that they made for this movie as well as including the score. And the score is still having the main theme from the original, and then just a whole bunch of new songs as well. Like, the score for this movie is just so good as well. And then the story, like, the story is more complex. There's definitely a bigger portion of it. As I said, there's the whole aspect of being in your 20s, and having the expectations of your whole life after. So that's one big focus of the movie. There's another focus about this villain that's capturing dragons to dominate the world. That I can say, that's not really a spoiler. That's just what the villain does. You find that out very early. And then there's the third topic, which I can't really go into because that one is spoilers. But that one's a very meaningful topic as well, and I think it was done really well. But I do have some complaints with that one, which I'll explain a little bit in my in-depth thoughts. So this movie, unlike the first movie, which was a boy and his dog, in this case, a boy and his dragon, and explaining to the world, that humans can coexist with dragons, this one is really just about them already now coexisting. And it's so nice to see how this Viking tribe adapted to living with the dragons, and just the way that they talk now is so different, and it just makes the world feel believable and nice, and it's just so cool. And yes, Hiccup as well too. He's still quirky, still awkward, but a lot more focused as well, a lot more mature and focused overall. And it really, again, Hiccup just relates a lot to me in many ways. So it's something that I just really like as well. I go over that a lot more in the first movie review. I also love that this one really does focus on his relationship with Astrid a bit more. It's 5 years later. They're in their 20s. They're a lot more mature together as a couple, and I think it's done really well. But it's still them just being them, and I really love that too. So I think that was very very special. Uh, but yeah, so unlike the first one, where as I said, it's a boy and his dragon kind of story, this one's more about um, facing challenges in ways that the world doesn't want to face. And again, it goes down to the villain, how he perceives the dragons and wants to control them and all of that, and his goals. Whereas Hiccup wants to do things differently. He wants to talk with the villain and just say like, "Hey, you don't need to be killing these dragons." It's kind of like what he tried to do in the first movie with his tribe, but a little bit more complex because this is a dude that is trying to capture dragons to use them to take over countries because he wants to kill all the dragons. So I think that was just interesting to like protect the dragons and show that they can all coexist. So that's why this movie is a little bit more complex in that aspect. It really is about um, handling situations the way that other people don't want to handle it as. And it's people who have, let's say, more authority than you in a way. Um, so, because the villain is much older, much stronger. Even Hiccup's dad is terrified of this villain. And he controls all these dragons, almost like he's the alpha. Um, and he just wants to kill them all. So, like, his point of view is just totally different, even from Hiccup's dad's point of view when he was trying to kill dragons. Like, it's just totally different, and Hiccup is just trying to confront the same issues as this guy, but just in a different way. So I think that is really mature, and like in the first movie, this one is also very mature in many ways, um, and honestly, some bigger ways too. I can't really go into that because those are some huge spoilers, so I'll talk about that in my spoiler filled section. So, as for complaints, the reason why I think that this is the worst of the three movies, not that it's a bad movie, I love it because it really expands things so much. And the story itself is a lot more complex and in depth, and it is technically a better story. But really, the villain screams way too much, and that's kind of how he controls the dragons. So his screaming is just really annoying. Um, and then that third thing that I said that the story focuses on is one of the best things, but without giving spoilers into it right now, I just wish that they handled that a little bit more. I wish that we got more of that and that we were able to see that a little bit more. Um, oh, and also, Toothless in this movie is adorable. I love Toothless in this movie more than I do for the first movie, just because he's just so cute in this movie, and yeah, he still reminds me of my dogs. Um, yeah, Toothless here is just adorable. But yeah, it's also just because I feel like this movie kind of just has two locations. For the most part, that's just what it feels like. I know that there wasn't a lot of locations in the other movie to the first one, but this one definitely just felt a little bit less grand with the locations, even though the locations they go to is magical and really, really beautiful. And then also there was a big dragon involved in the first movie, and then there's a big dragon involved in this movie. Um, and I just felt like the big dragon in this movie wasn't as intimidating or as much of a threat as the big dragon in the first movie. The villain, though, the human villain in this movie, he's very, very threatening. It's just the screaming that was really annoying. Um, but yeah, it's mostly just those. It's just some nitpicky things. Again, it's not that I like it way less. Like, if I was to give the first one a point, it would be like 8 out of 10, and then this one I'd give it like a 7.5 or a 7 out of 10. Really, it's not too much of a big change. It's really just because it is a bigger story and there's a lot more to the story. There's a little bit more, a couple of things that we can find nitpicks on and complain. But again, it's not that the movie is bad. Really, the biggest complaint really is just the villain screaming, and it kind of just feels like there's only two locations. But I love the movie still. But when you compare to the first one, which is just an instant classic, and then the last one, which is so emotional and so beautifully done and an amazing ending, this one you kind of forget little parts of it. Honestly, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, this one was there. But when you watch it again, you see how amazing it is. So it is a little bit forgetful compared to the first two. Like for this one, really, I just remember like 4 or 5 things from it, and it's just like the big things versus like the first one where I remember just everything about it, and then the last one where I remember just everything about it. So it's not that this one is bad, it's just that it's in the middle of two amazing movies, and this one is still a fantastic movie, but those two, the first and the third one, they're just so good. um but yeah, so that's my spoiler free section of it. I do recommend you watch it for sure. But now for my spoiler section, my more in-depth thoughts on it. It's not too much that I have to go over, really. Everything else that I said is still the same. It's just more about that third thing that I want to talk about. And that third thing is that the movie focuses a lot on family and Hiccup being reunited with his mom after 20 years because he was just a baby, and Stoic thought that she had died. But turns out that a dragon just took her, and she decided to live with the dragons in peace. And it was really interesting to see that she, like Hiccup, tried to show everyone that dragons aren't all bad. And I thought that that was really, really nice. So the reason why that this is a complaint is because I feel like we don't really get to spend too much time with Hiccup, Stoic, and his mom as a family, because I really, really wanted to see more of that. And I guess in the context of the story, it makes sense, but I wish they gave us more scenes of them as a family, because the scenes that we get is so beautiful, and especially of Stoic with his wife, I wish we got more moments with that. So I just felt like those parts were a little bit rushed, just because, they had to focus on the big overall story, which was with, the Drogo, I think was his name, the villain. um, and again, that's fine, but I think the movie should have been a little bit longer to give us more moments with that. Because like this dude hasn't seen his wife for 20 years and he thought she was dead. And then we have Hiccup, who never knew his mom. And we get to see them spending a lot of time together, Hiccup and his mom, and them kind of getting to know each other, and her wanting to train him in what she has learned for the past 20 years. So for Hiccup and her, it's fine, but I think Hiccup really needed a moment more than what we were given in the movie of him seeing his parents together, because those moments were very, very beautiful, and I just think it needed to be present a little bit more. Especially because of the fact that his dad dies in this movie, which again shows that this movie is a lot more mature than the first one. Not that the first one wasn't, it's just it's really not afraid, and the series as a whole is really not afraid to touch on these heavier topics. Um, like there's a lot more violence in this movie. There's a lot more conflict in this movie. It's a much darker story, and it does everything so well. It's just because of the fact that they do kill Stoic in this movie, and the fact that Hiccup, or not Hiccup, sorry, Toothless is the one that does it because he's being controlled. I thought that that was very sad. When that happened, I saw it in the theaters. I was really emotional with it. Um, so that's why I think we needed to have a little bit more moments with them as a family. And on top of that, this so like that's really just my complaint with it. I do love Toothless did become the alpha in this movie. I thought that that was done really well. And the thing that I said about the big dragon in this movie is that I feel like the alphas were just kind of there. I don't really think that there was much of a need to have two of them. But it was cool that Toothless did become an alpha, so that was really, really cool, because we had like this mountain of a dragon, and then he's the alpha, and then we see Toothless, which is like just slightly taller than a human, and he's now the alpha. So it was really interesting to see that. And Toothless' new form, new abilities, those were all really cool too. Really, yeah, just the complaint that I wanted to go over was the fact that uh, we didn't really get a lot of time with them as a family, and also Hiccup's mom. I wish we got a little bit more of her because she does spend a lot of time with Hiccup, but she's really just quiet and doesn't like really interact too much with him. They focus mostly on her and the dragons. Um, so I do wish we got a little bit more of her being a mom and her being focused. Sorry, her being focused on understanding not toothless. Sorry, I keep getting their names confused. Um, her focusing on Hiccup rather than her focusing on the dragon culture and all of that. Because it's cool that the amount that we got, I just think we needed a little bit more of her and Hiccup spending time together as mother and son rather than mother son who is being taught to dragon things because that's what it mostly came off as. But it's still fantastic. And this movie is really special for me. This whole series is. I remember going to the theaters to watch this one. It was in my home country, and when it wasn't even in my town, we were in a totally different state. It was me, my mom, my uncle, and my cousin. We traveled to the state on a little vacation, and I really wanted to watch the movie. No one wanted to go watch it with me though, because they all wanted to go do their own things. Like everyone wanted to go to the beach, but I didn't. I wasn't feeling too good. I was in a really bad mood at that time. Um, so I just really wanted to go to the theater. So I just went. And I do remember me and my mom had argued a lot. So I just went to the theater myself, walked over there because the mall wasn't too far from where we were at the hotel. Um, and yeah, I mean, I am upset that I was being really rude to everyone. I just really was not in a good mood during that trip. So, you know, I do wish I could have just enjoyed it a little bit more and I wouldn't have been arguing with my mom. But I did enjoy the trip. It's just I wish I was able to be more calmer so I could have had enjoyed it more. Um, Especially since I don't really get to spend a lot of time with my like bigger family because they're in a different country. So, but yeah, I just really was not in a good mood for various things. But anyway, seeing this movie and in that time having argued with my mom a bit and seeing that the movie was about Hiccup and his mom, um, it's special for me in that aspect. I think it was really really good, and my mom loves the How to Train Your Dragon movies as well. I do think she saw the first one with me in theaters. Um, this one I know she didn't watch it in theaters because I went by myself, but I think she watched it after. The third one she did watch it with me. I saw it 2 or 3 times in theaters. The third one, um, and yes, the 3D for this movie was also really really good because I do remember that. But yeah, the third one, I'm gonna have so much to say for that one because that one is so emotional and it's just such a wonderful movie. It is my favorite of all three. I do have some complaints with it though, but we'll talk about that with the third one. But yeah, this movie is just really special for me in general. Just given the situation of how I watched it and relating more with it up as well. Uh, and I just think that it was just a really good story told, but I think because of those little complaints, it's a little bit not as good as the original because the original was just such a fantastic introduction and a classic right away. But again, this movie is still fantastic. It is truly so good. So I really recommend you all watch this movie for sure. But yeah, guys, that's all I had to say about this movie, and now I'm so excited to talk about How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, or as I like to call it, How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World, or just How to Train Your Dragon 3. With all that said, guys, let me know what you think about this movie. Let me know your thoughts. Which one's your favorite How to Train Your Dragon movie, and does the movie relate to you as well? But yeah, guys, let me know. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.